Real Madrid just signed Aurelian Tchouameni, a 20-year-old French international from AS Monaco. He's a defensive midfielder, but that's not all he is. So Tchouameni is a type of player that's very versatile. He can play either as a number 6 in front of that back line, typically where Casemiro plays. That's screening the back line, providing defensive covers, tackles, interceptions, all of that fun stuff. But he can also play as an advanced number 8, box to box, so moving forward, carries, passes, providing the final ball for attacks. So very faceted midfielder, very exciting one, especially at such a young age. Now, we can take a look at what he is in terms of data using a pizza chart. So a pizza chart basically provides rankings for every facet a midfielder plays, like Tchouameni. So attacking, defensive, possession. Remember what I said? He's not just a defensive midfielder, and the numbers stack up for that. So the two most important rankings are his XG from shot creation and his XG from ball progression. So he's a midfielder that can create both from actually scoring the goals himself and providing the assists and passes to let, for example, a player like Benzema score. But what Real Madrid would really focus on is his defensive side. So he's very competent in terms of ball recoveries, interceptions, and area losing quantity. Now, these will be the two most important rankings for Real Madrid especially. Why? Because they have a very energetic, athletic player that's able to use his very long legs to win the ball back and kickstart counterattacks for a team like Madrid, which Ancelotti would really love. And then you also have a player that's really tall and very good in the air. So Real Madrid in the Liga especially face teams that present themselves in a low block, so don't really try to penetrate the center. So you have a team start trying to play the ball from the center back, one long ball to the center back to the striker. So if you have a player in front of that back line, very good in the air, you kind of solve most of your problems. In terms of progressive passing, Tchouameni in front of that back line isn't just a safe passer, so to speak. So he isn't just looking to move the ball out wide or to the other midfielder. He's actually very good in terms of getting it to the striker, getting it to the players to create that shot. So overall, very useful in his own half and the opposition half. Now we can take a very specific example in terms of how Tchouameni acts out of possession. What I have here in front of me is a screenshot, so to speak, from AS Monaco's 3-0 win against PSG. Now, PSG have the ball trying to build out in a back three. Basically, Marquinhos trying to move the ball out wide to a player like Hakimi to then create a chance from. Let's focus on what's really important here, which is Tchouameni. So we have here typical position from the back line, but there's two important observations to be made in terms of how he reads the game. So he notices Wijnaldum just behind his shoulders, tucked in that space between the back line. Now that's a very dangerous position, so he immediately reads that. The second thing that he reads is the moment the ball moves out wide to Hakimi, he knows that the only viable passing option for PSG to actually create a chance is to Wijnaldum. Otherwise, they just lose the ball. So what he does here, the moment that Wijnaldum drops in space over here, he actually doesn't go ahead and close him down or try to block the space in front of the pass. What he does is he runs away from the ball. Yes, he goes just to the blind side of his opponent, Wijnaldum, and the moment that he receives the ball, Wijnaldum receives, Tchouameni is immediately in a good position to close him down without Wijnaldum even knowing it. So this is kind of what makes Tchouameni a very good and interesting midfielder at such a young age. He combines his reading and intelligence of the game, predicting where the ball goes, predicting the pass, predicting movement of the players, with his athleticism, his tackles, his interceptions. Overall, it makes for a very powerful midfielder that Real Madrid can really benefit from. Now, we can take a look at how he might potentially play for Real Madrid. So now that we know that Tchouameni can play in different positions, either as a 6 or as an 8, but what we can expect from him to play in Real Madrid is predominantly in the role that Casemiro plays, screening that back line. Real Madrid have a very good but aging midfield, so we kind of expect him to provide cover and competition should the time need be if he ever moves off the pitch. Combining him with recent signings that Real Madrid made, like Camavinga and Modric and then Valverde. So Real Madrid now have a very different, or expect to have a very different midfield from the one that they previously had. So Kroos, Modric, Casemiro operates differently than Tchouameni, Camavinga, Valverde. How? Camavinga can act as this box-to-box role. So moving forward, advancing with runs, carries, spraying passes forward, those chipped balls especially. You also have Valverde that is very comfortable cutting inside, creating runs off the ball, often combining with players like Benzema and Vinicius. And then you have Tchouameni also very comfortable covering that back line and also rotating with Camavinga when need be. So he actually stacks up quite well to the likes of Kroos and Modric. Let me show you. Here I have Tchouameni's defensive duel ratings. They're weighted based on the quality of the opposition. I compared them to players like Luka Modric, Casemiro, Kroos, their previous midfield. Now, there's two very important rankings too. Okay, first of all is the tackling. So he ranks the best out of tackling compared to the previous midfield. And that's not to say that he's better, but he provides something different, especially given, for example, his open play headers. So very early dominant. So Real Madrid have a very exciting player at their hands. He's one that can provide everything they need in terms of defensive balance, ball recoveries, interceptions, and moving forward, carrying the ball, progressive passes, finding players like Benzema and Vinicius in space. He's basically an octopus. He covers the entire pitch. So very exciting player, and he's only going to do better the more that he plays at Real Madrid. So very excited to watch him play.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. Not to mention, it's all ad-free. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.